Hello, my name is Justin Doctor from Stock and Option Solutions, and I'm here today to talk to you about the revised regulations for Section 6039 and our suite of services to help ensure you are in compliance with these new regulations. This has been an extremely hot topic over the past month with our clients and partners, as we also did a webcast at the end of August that focused more on the changes to the regulations, whereas this demo is going to focus more on our line of products and services. You can find a link to the recording and materials for that webcast on the events page of our website at www.sos-team.com. In just a moment, we're going to jump into a demo of our 6039 Express, our program that's installed at your location and allows you to create the participant statements as well as the required IRS files for Forms 3921 and 3922. But for those companies that do not want to handle these tasks themselves, we offer our 6039 outsourcing services, which utilizes the same technology as well as our expertise to handle these tasks for you. This includes the creation and mailing of the participant statements, as well as the creation and electronic filing of the IRS files. Now let's jump into the demo.
Right, let's start the demo portion of our discussion. We're going to go through a demo of our SOS 6039 Express tool. As you can see, it's pretty simple as far as the interface that you can see on your screen right now. We wanted it to be very straightforward with as few buttons as possible to make it very user-friendly and easy to use. The first button that we'll talk about here is the configuration button that you see in the top left of your screen. This is just some of the key features that we will help you to configure during implementation, but you can also change yourself at any time throughout your use of the tool. Your company name, tax ID, address, all that good stuff. And this email server name, email server port right here, these are only going to be relevant or only going to be included if you choose the email function, if you choose to add the email functionality to the tool itself. The source database file, this is obviously where we're specifying where we're getting the source data from, so we'll work with you to set that up. And again, if you want to change that location, you're more than welcome to do that at any time. The tax year, of course, is something that you're going to have to input each year. You'll have to change that, as well as the ESPP discount. If you are using the tool for Form 3922, you're going to have to go ahead and input that discount so we can do one of the calculations for one of the fields needed. The last thing here, the PDF file location, this is just where we're going to store both the IRS file and the PDF file that we're creating, or the actual forms that the tool is creating. It's going to save them to a location that you specify, so we just want to get that set up front, and we'll work with you to do that. All right, so next, the email settings, and again, this email settings button is only going to be on the tool if you choose to add that email functionality. Pretty basic. What it's going to do is allow you to include a customizable subject. As you can see, you can write whatever the subject you want. You can also include an email memo that is an introductory memo that's included at in the email before the report is displayed to the participant. You can include an introductory memo if you want to include a few lines about what the form is, or just give them some general information about it. You're more than welcome to do that. As you can see, you're also able to specify any sender ID that you want. It shouldn't come from SOS. It should come from your an email address at your company. It can just be a generic stock admin at abccompany.com, or you can set up a special email box specifically for 6039 compliance. And what we also recommend is that you BCC that email address on the emails that you send out. It just provides you that added layer of audit trail, so you can see exactly the physical document that was sent out to each of those employees. So that's the email configuration. The next thing here is the log. This tool actually captures a log of everything that you do in the tool when you're processing the Forms 3921 and 3922. It captures everything, so you can have that, again, layer of audit for your security, so you can see exactly what was done, what form was processed, for what option, for what ESPP purchase, the date and time that it was processed and so forth. You're also able to export that log. If you click the export log, it will go ahead and export it, bring it up in Excel, and allow you to save it off so you can keep it in a safe location for future use. And the last thing here is the clear logs. That just allows you to expunge the log. If you, after you've processed, say, your Form 3921, you want to delete or clear those logs before you, and you had saved off that log, you want to clear it before you process Form 3922. We allow you to do that, so you can basically start from scratch when you're doing the 3921, or excuse me, the 3922, and then go ahead and save that off again after you've processed that form, and then clear it for the next run. You can just continue to add to it or append to that file each time, and you're more than welcome to do that. It's just an added feature for you to make that decision. All right, so getting into actually processing the forms, you can see there's just two forms here, 3921 and 3922. This is 3921. I'll back out here and go into 3922. It looks exactly the same. It's just one's for the ISO exercises and one's for the ESPP purchase data. So they're exactly the same in how they're set up and how you're processing each form. So for the demo today, I'm going to actually go through and process Form 3921 for the ISO exercise. So the first thing we do is click this button in the top left of Retrieve ISO exercise data. And you can see once that's complete, it's going to say data refresh complete. And what it did there is it just pulled in the data from that source file that you had specified in the configuration just a minute ago. It also allows you to audit that ISO exercise data, so you can see that it pulled in 13 records here, and that's what we were expecting, so that's perfect. We can go through and look and make sure that all this information that's included is correct. If it's not, we would certainly have to change that source data and make the corrections, maybe do some additional filtering and make sure that you're capturing the right data that you want to. All right, so that all looks good. So then we go to actually create the Form 3921. And you have three different form types here, the original, the corrected, or the void. And so since this is the first time we're processing it, we're going to do the original. And then there's once you get down to the bottom here, there's three different options. And you can do one, you would do one at a time. So if you wanted to do the IRS e-file, you can go ahead and do that. So what we can do is just go ahead and click the start button. And so it's just basically saying it's starting, and then file generated successfully. And then next, what we can do is create the employee statements PDF. So you can either do all, or you can do non-consent only. And the non-consent only is only relevant if you're going to be emailing out some of the statements. And of course, in order to email out the statements, you need to get electronic consent from the participant. And we allow you to, if you can do that through our, as we talked about before the demo here, through our employee consent website. Or you can do it on your own through a website of your own or some means of your own to get that electronic consent from the participants. But if you include that on one of the source data fields, then we can filter and only create the PDFs for the people that didn't consent to retrieve it electronically if you want to do that. But for the purpose of this, we're just going to go ahead and create all of them. So we'll click Start, and then click OK, and then you can see the file was generated successfully. And so then we'll move on to the last one. And again, this last column here, this last section, is only going to be here if you choose to include the email functionality with the tool. If you don't wish to add that on as a feature, this just won't be here. Okay, so the last thing here, the employee statements email, you can either choose to send a test email or send an email itself. And again, it's to send an email to everyone or just those people that consented. And then you actually have the option to restart the email as well if for some reason you needed to cancel it in the middle of the job, or your system freezes up for some reason. The tool keeps track of how many emails have been sent out, and it can restart from the point that you had left off. So let's just go ahead and send the test email here. So we'll click Start. And then what it's going to ask is a destination address for the test emails. because what it will do for the test emails is it will take the first 3 records and it will send those reports to the email address that you specify here, which is a good way just for you to see how the process is working. Okay. Great. So we went ahead, and you can see that email sent, process completed successfully. So we went through all the different features. So now let's go ahead and look at the results. All right. All right, so we are in the folder here that we specified in the configuration, so we can go ahead and see what we created. First thing we'll do is pull up the first thing we'll do is pull up the IRS form that we created. You can see, as the IRS requires, this is just a flat file, so you pull it up. It doesn't really make a lot of sense when you look at it, but it's going to be that flat file and that format that the IRS requires to upload electronically to their FIRE website. So that's the IRS file that you would then be able to upload. And then here is the employee statements, or the PDFs. The PDFs that we had created are shown right here. So you can see that it creates the file of statements for you to then print and mail out to each of the participants. And again, this is going to include all the information that the IRS requires to get to those participants for that Form 3921. All right, so the next thing that we'll do here is go ahead and look at the email form. So this is exactly the same thing as the PDF form that I just showed, but of course it's in email format, and you can see that this is the web address, or this is the email address that we specified that it's going from. This is the customizable subject. This is that customizable introductory memo, and then the report itself, the Form 3921, is embedded in the email. That's what we found in our research is the best way to communicate it, is to actually embed it in the email itself. It takes up a lot less bandwidth and server space, and the emails will get out to the participants faster. And then when they open it up, it's going to be staring them in the face, so they don't have to deal with downloading an attachment or anything like that. So that is the different files that I guess the tool creates. And again, if we go into the 3922 for ESPP purchase, you can see it's exactly the same. You choose original, corrected, void, the IRS e-file, employee statements PDF, and employee statements email. So it's all the process is exactly the same. As you can see, a very simple process to go ahead and run this tool and to get your Forms 3921 and 3922 created for the IRS.